Well, it's me. I wasn't going to record this video, but I'm actually really excited for this card. And I wasn't excited for last week's card, and I made that video. So I decided to stop being a bum, stop making all these excuses. Oh, boo-hoo, I'm busy. I had this going on. I had to work this day. I had this. Whatever. I'm just going to put together my low-effort little analysis, because even when I don't try at all to any capacity, I'm better at picking than most people who get paid way more than they deserve to pick, because I actually know what's going on and I take this seriously. So, without, I should talk about last card a little bit. I'm almost done live keeping up with how I've been doing on picks. I'm gonna put it all together at the end of the year, though, because there's a couple cards where I forgot to keep the notes before I deleted them, and then the card happened, and I don't remember what I picked, and I really don't feel like going back through and watching my video, even though it would take 20 fucking seconds, but I don't feel like doing that. Anyway, for a pay-per-view, $80 is a lot. $80 is a lot. For 3 title fights at this point, $80 is just a lot of money. And I don't know, So, was it worth pay-per-view price? Probably not. Did I have a bunch of friends come over and watch it with me and made the night a fun little experience? I sure did. That is exactly what I did. Max Holloway won. Very, very clearly outstruck Dustin. And with that, unfortunately, I cannot say that Max is washed and what Ilya did to him would be easy to do. Ilya is pretty good. I have said that before. Ilya is decent. Is he the best boxer in the UFC? Absolutely not. I think that's silly. But he definitely did beat a Max Holloway who's done fighting at featherweight. Am I, one of those people championing for Holloway versus Ilya 2 at lightweight? Also, no. That is not what I'm saying. But, I think there's an asterisk over every single one of Ilya's wins until he beats Islam. If he beats Islam, then, what else am I going to say? What a monster. You did it. You Chad. But until he beats Islam, whatever. But Poirier retired. Sad. Said something about how if they gave him a title shot, he might come back before the fight happened. Now that fight happened, obviously there's no way he's getting a title shot. He said he watched the way he fought and he thinks he made the right decision as far as retiring. Probably. I don't know. It was a good card overall. Paulo Costa is back. When he's entertaining, when he's on, he is on. And I said that, and I had a feeling that for some reason he just wasn't going to let Roman Kopylov bitch him. And he didn't. He beat the fuck out of Roman Kopylov, which that was awesome. That really made me happy to see. Because I actually like Paulo Costa. He's funny. I like people with personality. But enough yapping about that card. But before I go on, this is my point. Last card, even I was like, pay-per-view, blah blah blah, star power. Star power is what you make of it. You know what I mean? If obviously there's people with social media followers and blah 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 blah, but how do you guys feel about Sean O'Malley? Right now, Sean O'Malley's my favorite fighter. I'm actually wearing a Sean O'Malley t-shirt right now as I'm recording this video, but most people hate Sean O'Malley. Most people say that he's an artificial star and that the UFC pushed him for no reason and blah, blah, freaking blah, right? Well, he's a star. He's what the UFC would call a star. Same with Paddy Pimblett, right? You guys don't like these people, So when a card does have, quote-unquote, like, obviously I'm being, the Robert Whittaker, Petr, like, there's stars on this card and there's a reason why it's better. But entertaining fights have nothing to do with star power, right? That is, they are completely irrelevant from one another. So if you are an MMA fan and you like watching good fights, then good fights happen quite regularly. International Fight Week, I think this year was the best it has been in a long time. Did it have the star power previous years? No. But, it didn't need to. Ian Gary versus MVP wasn't that good of a fight. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it was good and it was technical and it was interesting from a fan perspective, But if you had one fight to show someone to get them hip to UFC, you're not showing them that fight. I promise you that. So, but yeah, that's just, my take. I hate all these people who want to call me a casual fan because I like Sean O'Malley, for example. And then parade that they're hardcore fans, and then they bitch and moan about a lack of star power, lack of talent on cards, and it's like, well, they're fighting still, no? So if you're a fan of fighting, you can watch this card and probably enjoy it. It's not the PFL, I mean, like, even a lower tier UFC isn't PFL sucks. Go over there, watch that for a minute. They fucking suck. Watch, as some homework, watch the UFC. Well, you already watched the UFC if you're watching this video. Watch one championship and the PFL, and then tell me how they compare to the UFC. One championship is a lot better than PFL, but it's still not as good as the UFC. But anyway, that's 6 minutes worth of yapping. Let me actually start with my breakdowns, my low effort predictions, my precursor to my career, where I won't even do this, and it'll be a lot more serious and not silly. But first fight, this is UFC Fight Night Abu Dhabi. Robert Whittaker versus Reiner to Whittaker versus Robert and fucking Robert Whittaker versus Reiner de Ritter. First fight, Martin Buday versus Marcus Buchecha. Buchecha sucks. At least he looks like he does. He has very, very little experience. He's a grappler from one championship, which is interesting. One championship produces really, really good strikers. Obviously, RDR is from one championship, and he's a grappler. But it's when I think of one championship, I don't think of grapplers. I don't often think of their jiu-jitsu program, even though I know they have people like Mikey Musumeci or whatever the fuck his name is. Darth Rigatoni or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think about their Muay Thai. I think about their kickboxing. Buday is also a grappler though, so it's not even like I don't. Buchecha is a fucking minus 300 favorite. He is 5-1 as a professional, and Buday is 15-2 as a professional. So I'm gonna pick Martin Buday. Maybe that's dumb. Maybe I'm getting baited right now. I'm really not following these odds. If I wasn't financially recovering from a lot of dumb things, I might literally put money on this. But I'm not going to do that because I'm the one in fucking every 10,000 responsible gamblers who doesn't actually do it that often, but does do it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm picking Martin Buday. Moving on, Mohammad Yahya versus Steven Nguyen. I mean, who do you guys think I'm gonna pick? There's a Asian boy. He's the favorite, minus 400. I mean, the script writes itself at this point. Sign me up. We all know I'm riding or dying with my boy Steven Nguyen. This is a Vietnamese boy, at least Vietnamese American. You can tell by his name. I'm like, some people, you know where last names come from. I know where some last names come from. Not all of them, but I know Nguyen is definitely Vietnamese. Anyways, so yeah, picking my little Asian boy, we're riding with that. Hopefully it doesn't let me down. It has actually been pretty good on me since I started this YouTube channel. Moving on, Ibo Aslan versus Billy Elekana. So Ibo has almost twice the experience of my boy Billy here, which I think is rather significant. I actually put a lot of stock into experience. One is 14-2, one is 7-2. So literally twice as many wins. He's also a year younger, which is crazy. That means he's a lot more active. Billy might... No. He might have a grappling advantage. I kind of doubt he has a grappling advantage. I don't think Billy's going to be better anywhere. I think Ibo's probably just going to manhandle, dog walk him. Little Turkish cat. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's too many reasons to pick Billy. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm trying to stop saying that people suck and are bad and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think Ibo probably has the advantage everywhere, whether it's grappling, whether it's striking, and I think he'll probably end up getting the finish, honestly, more than likely. Moving on, Amanda Ribas versus Tabatha Ricci. So this fight, Um, Women's MMA is funny because you can, once you start looking at all the people enough, you can kind of get the pattern in every weight class. But WMMA is so blatantly obvious, like the skill gap. So Amanda Ribas and Tabatha Ricci, isn't it funny that it's Ribas and Ricci and they're both from Brazil? But anyway, they have lost to anybody that you're even remotely aware of that they fought. Like, so let's just go back, because I didn't write them down because I'm stupid. Amanda Ribas lost to Mackenzie Dern's, Rose Namajunas, Macy Barber, Caitlin Sermonara, Marina Rodriguez, Pollyanna Viana, and that's it. Okay? That's all 6 of her losses. Now let me go to Tabatha Ricci and her 3 losses. Her 3 losses are Yan Zhaonan, Lupi Godinez, and Manon Fiorot. What did I say? That's every female that you even remotely know. Well, not every, but you know what I mean? Like, if you were to look down and you were like, oh, but who is she won? I mean, okay, to be fair, this is exactly my point. I'm going to pick Tabatha Ricci because she beat Angela Hill, alright. She beat Tisha Pennington, formerly known as Tisha Torres. That's a pretty good win. Jillian Robertson has aged alright. Jessica Penne, she was on roids. Pollyanna Viana, she beat... Didn't Pollyanna Viana beat Amanda Ribas? Wasn't that one of the names that I just said? Because if that's the case, then yeah, that is the case. So using the best basis for picking fights, which is MMA math, Amanda Ribas lost to Pollyanna Viana, who Tabatha Ricci beat. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Tabatha Ricci to win that little strawweight. It's probably going to go to decision because strawweights don't finish each other often, and these are both grapplers. But I think Tabatha Ricci is probably just going to be able to out-grapple. Anyway, moving on. Davey Grant versus Damon Blackshear. Davey Grant's almost 40, bro. He's 39 years old. Damon Blackshear, people are kind of trying to act like he's like this up-and-coming next thing. He's like this big prospect, but he's already 30 years old. 17-7. But, he literally has more fights than Davey Grant. That's crazy. But yeah, so I'm going to pick Damon Blackshear, minus 380 or favorite. 30 years old to Davey Grant's 39 years old. It's pretty, standard stuff as far as this pick goes. This is very easy, nothing to argue with. Same with this next one, Muslim Salikhov versus Carlos Leal. Carlos Leal is minus 500. 31-41. You're going down in the welterweight division, so it actually does matter quite a bit, this 10-year age gap. Sometimes obviously there's wrong, Michael Johnson just beat up Daniel Huber last week, which, oh my god, I'm mad about. But, I'm going to go with Carlos Leal, minus 500. There's no reason to pick against that, and Carlos Leal is alright. Moving on, Bryce Mitchell versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. I am picking Bryce Mitchell. Right. So there's a couple things that go into this. There's my bias, and then there's the real analysis, right? So Bryce Mitchell, if we're being 100% honest, is really good at grappling, and then not good at striking. He's kind of surprisingly bad at grappling, right? Surprisingly bad at striking. And who else is surprisingly bad at striking and really, really good at grappling? Most of these fucking Russian/Dagestani people, okay? Really, this is gonna be about grappling advantage, right? And a lot of Dagestani Russian grapplers, it's about control or like dominant position, like being heavy on top of the opponent. Bryce Mitchell has a very sleek jiu-jitsu style of grappling, right? He throws up a lot of submissions, a lot of crafty transitions, a lot of very weird, unorthodox everything about him, okay? Vinicius Oliveira just beat Saeed Nurmagomedov essentially via being able to neutralize his grappling and being able to outstrike him and being able to get on top and throw up, use transitions to his advantage, blah, 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 blah. So I think Bryce Mitchell is probably better than Vinicius Oliveira at grappling, which, MMA math, he'll be better than Saeed also. Not only that, I think I I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out right here. But I'm very hopeful about Bryce Mitchell's weight class change. He definitely got dogged at the higher echelon of 145, and I do believe a lot of that is because he lost his physicality. Once he got up against bigger people, well, not bigger people necessarily, but yeah, I mean bigger people. He got up against bigger people, better grapplers, like the higher 145ers, and he wasn't able to dog walk people like he was able to before. He wasn't able to like use his cardio and pace against people because he's sitting there like ankle biting them like a little dog, you know what I mean? He's trying on your leg to get you down and there's just nothing you can do, or he's trying to like pop up from under you and do some crazy shit, but he can't because you're just too big and you're on top of him. But yeah, so assuming the weight cut doesn't take everything out of him, Bryce Mitchell's only 30 years old. I think he can come back and still have a decent career. Do I think he's champion material? No, but I never really thought he was. I remember watching him fight Edson Barboza and just thinking, yeah, this guy's not beating Volk. But do I think he can be a high-level contender at 135? Absolutely. Do I think he can, get into the mix, beat some Rob Fonts, beat some Cheetos, beat some, you know what I mean? I think him versus... I don't know, a lot of people is fun. Him versus Umar if he beats Saeed. Him versus, Murad down in the future. Him versus Sean. Him versus Corey. Him versus Figueiredo. Him versus to tell me you don't want to see Bryce Mitchell versus Figueiredo now that I just mentioned it a little bit, right? A little bit. But, yeah, I yapped about that fight for probably the longest of any fight that I'm going to yap about here. So my pick is Bryce Mitchell. Moving on. Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. I'm going to be 100% honest. Nikita Krylov kind of sucks, right? Nikita Krylov has lost to Dominic Reyes, Paul Craig, Ankalaev, Glover Teixeira, Jan Blachowicz, OSP, right? He's lost to more people than just that, but those are the names that I just listed. I'm going to pick Bogdan. He's the underdog, plus 160. Don't care. He's slightly younger. Doesn't have the same amount of losses. Obviously, now Nikita Krylov has 40 fights. 40 fights is a lot, 40 professional fights, compared to Bogdan's 20, literally. So he has double the amount of fights. That also means double the amount of damage. Nikita Krylov has been finished a couple of times. He's been beaten. Not quite bad, but he's been beaten. He's got a lot of gas, or a lot of miles in the tank. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to pick Bogdan because he hasn't shown that he's as bad, I think, in a weird way, if that makes any type of sense. Moving on to Asu Almabayev versus Jose Ochoa. I could not give a shit less about this fight. I'm going to pick Asu Almabayev because he just lost to Manel Kemp via eye pokes, and he is pretty good aside from that. Moving on. Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Shara Bullet is minus 700. As I say quite often, why would I pick against something that insanely odds? You know what I mean? Minus 700 is scary, scarily high. And Marc-Andre Barriault sucks. So I'm just going to pick Shara Bullet, even though I don't think he's that good either. If there was a single big spook of a, man, this guy's a huge favorite and I really don't think he's that good, it would be this fight. If there was at all a fight that I'm on the fence or it would be this fight because Shara Bullet sucks and Marc-Andre Barriault. He sucks, but you know what I mean? He was hyped for a minute at some point, but yeah, I'm picking Shara Bullet. Still, don't get it twisted. Moving on, Petr Yan versus Marcus McGhee. What are we doing here? This is Petr Yan food, right? This is literally just breakfast for the boy. I'm not really gonna entertain this with a long breakdown analysis. I think everybody agrees that Petr Yan wins, and if he doesn't, then he's cooked. That's a good. Right? Good take? Question mark? Moving on. Main event. I just speed ran through those that main card. Want to get to this fight though. Robert Whittaker versus Reiner de Ritter. This fight is so spicy. I am gonna pick Reiner de Ritter for... I know I keep saying I need to stop this, but whatever. UFC plot, in my opinion, dictates that RDR versus Dustin Dricus Duplessis will be the cartoon championship, you know? And we need that. I think everybody needs that. I think I'll pay $80 for that, and it'll be awesome. RDR, let me just remind you guys, only 2 losses were against the one championship light heavyweight champion, okay? This man went from welterweight to middleweight to light heavyweight, I believe. RDR is a monster. People really don't give him the flowers he deserves. He has 78 inches of reach compared to Rob's 73.5, okay? 4 inches of reach. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a bit. Definitely has the grappling advantage, right? Like, very obviously. I know Robert Whittaker has really, really good wrestling, right? But he doesn't use that a lot. He's more of like a counter wrestler, striking type, right? So he definitely can outstrike RDR, right? But he also definitely should have outstruck DDP, is the problem. And he didn't. Robert Whittaker did not outstrike DDP. So, unfortunately, I can see him getting knocked out. I can see him getting rocked and choked. I can see him losing the decision. I see Rob losing this fight a lot of ways via, essentially just because UFC plot. Robert Whittaker could knock out RDR, or just crisp striking him to a decision with that 1-2 head kick made. But I don't know. I mean, I think this is one of those fights where I see more paths to victory for RDR than I do Robert Whittaker. They're the same age. RDR is taller, longer. He's more active as a grappler, which quite often, especially it depends on the fighter, but there's a sect of fighters who even they're not that good at they're not that good at striking, but they're so good at grappling that it doesn't matter that they're not that good at striking, and that they'll just throw kind of wildly, which makes it hard to read. Robert Whittaker is so traditionally good at striking that he's waiting for certain keys and tells that RDR is doing to see what he'll throw, and RDR is not doing those things because he's a child who just picked up the controller for the first time, So yeah, I don't know. I just think, like I already said, I think there's more paths to victory for RDR. I think, I don't think Robert Whittaker is done necessarily, but I don't think he will get the title back. Not saying that I think RDR gets the title, but I think RDR fights for the title. I think maybe there's a universe where RDR wins against Whittaker and then Dricus loses next month to Hamzat, and then they fight for a number 1 contender match. But RDR and DDP need to fight. I need to inject that fight into my veins. But so yeah, I'm gonna go with RDR for that pick. I just think, former multiple weight class champion. I know it was with one, but still. Oh, Jesus, I'm getting tired. Literally 1:30 p.m. and I'm getting tired. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Those are my picks for UFC Abu Dhabi 7,456, Robert Whittaker versus RDR, happening at fucking noon or some dumb shit. But whatever.